only thing that R&B is lost is its positioning in terms of the mainstream, in terms of what's promoted. But that's not because of the music itself. It's because the message is no longer mainstream. Love is no longer mainstream. So before, we were all about love. We were all about togetherness. We were all about family. And then the crack came in. Yeah. Then the pimping got heavy. And then the gang culture got heavy. Yeah. And so now what became mainstream for us, our everyday conversation, was stealing, killing, and destroying. Right. So if you listen to the music that's mainstream now, it reflects the topic of our conversation. Right. So that's what changed. It's not that the music is gone.
In terms of healing relationships between black men and women, where do we begin?
You got to have the conversation, right? All therapy, all counseling begins with the conversation. We don't have enough dialogue as African people. And there's two reasons why we don't have enough dialogue. Number one, we don't own enough spaces where you can bring black people together long enough to have a deep conversation. Think about it. How many places in Toronto that we own, completely owned by blacks, not multicultural, not government, we own it, right? Like Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, we own it, right? How many black spaces in Toronto do we own that can seat at least 500 black folks so we can come together once a week and figure our stuff out? Not many. Most of what we own are the churches. And most churches, what? They don't want no political conversation or agitation. You see what I'm saying? So one of the biggest barriers to organizing black folks, where do you do it? Because you can't do it outside under the tent because everybody else going to come and listen in on what you do.
Yes, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So that's a barrier.
Private
and then the other barrier that has been imposed on us by European capitalism is the rat race of making ends meet. You got to work 3 jobs. You got to work 3 jobs. You got to work 3 jobs and raise the kids. So you never get enough time to dedicate to helping the collective improve because we're so bogged down with all the bureaucratic obligations of the white superstructure. You see that? So keeping us busy with things that essentially don't really matter, but you got to do it to make sure you eat and can pay bills, and then no place to meet at the other time. Look at the other races. They got places to meet, and they have their own self-governing economic structures, right? So they can employ their own, they can empower their own, they can extend wealth to their own. We don't have that. And so when you say, where do we begin? Education and economics. Education and economics. You got to train the children in the art of being a Pan-Africanist. And at the same time, you got to be able to empower your people with money. You can make every black person in Toronto loyal to black people. You can get all the brothers to give up their white girlfriends overnight simply by being able to do what? Empower them economically. If a young brother come to you, he got a white wife, and he says, yo, I want to open up this store. I ain't got no money. And if you say, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do your down payment. I'm going to do your first 6 months rent. But guess what? You got to leave Sally Mae today. Sally Mae's gone. That pale penguin is out. You see, when money talks, the bullshit walks. The problem with us as African people is we want our people to be loyal without having no opportunity. Be loyal to being black when the black community does nothing for me. See, Jewish kids, it's easy for a Jewish kid to be loyal to being Jew because he can get everything from the community. It's easy for the Chinese kids to be loyal. They can get it from their own community. What can a black child get from us? Nothing. Until we are able to empower them economically, it's going to be difficult for them to dig in and be with us. You got to give them a reason to be proud to be black. History is great. But guess what's greater than history for our young people? Opportunity. When I go speak in the prisons, the prisons are filled with black men and women who have knowledge of self. They've read more books than we read. You understand? They don't need a Dr. Umar lecture because that's all they've been studying for the past 12 years in jail. So if you are this intelligent, how in the hell did you get into jail? Because despite knowing about the pyramids, despite reading all the Dr. Clark's books, despite watching all the DVDs, I couldn't find a job. And so I had to ski mask up and rob somebody in order to feed my kids. What good is knowledge of self if it don't come with an opportunity to do better?